No, it's not. Okay. Look, Torah Or, page 16. 5 lines in the end of the page. Okay, now the Rebbe is saying that Mei Noach purified the world. Mei Noach means all the problems of business and everything else is actually a purification that makes a person much more refined, that he can go to a higher level in Gan Eden and Olam Haba and everything. And he says that only through Tirdas HaParnas, like we just said, can the neshama be elevated. Okay, 5 lines in the end of the page of 16. That one turning 1 hour of tshuva ma'asim tevim in this world is better than the whole Olam Haba. How could that be? How could this world of tshuva ma'asim tevim be better than the whole Olam Haba? Because it's the uniqueness of light that comes through darkness. In other words, when you do tshuva ma'asim tevim ba'olam hazeh, you're basically fighting evil, and you're transforming the evil temptations and everything to do Torah mitzvah, tshuva ma'asim tevim. So therefore, that light that comes through darkness, in other words, when darkness itself is transformed to light, that's the greatest form of light, which is iskaf yitzidach v'zhabach shehicha. Therefore, when a person occupies himself a whole day in physical business and everything, which is cheshech, which is the concept of darkness, it wants to block the person's observance of Torah mitzvahs, and yet the person meditates afterwards in davening. There is no grass down here, the Gemara says. That doesn't have a mazel, an angel, whatever you want to call it, constellation, that hits it and says grow. That they are constellations that give life to the world. Like we say in Zeis HaBracha, or mimaget for shamish, that the grain, like Rashi says, certain things grow from sunlight, certain melons grow from moonlight. Where did the constellations get their power from? From the 70 malachim in charge of the nations. And the Sadim, those malachim get it from the sediment of the malachim. And they themselves get it from the higher level of angels. That all these constellations and offices and angels, they all get their chayis from Malchus of Atzilus, which is Malachos, Malchus Kol Elam, Shemahavis Kol Elam is Miyayin Liyesh, that creates everything from nothing to something. And yet, that's only Ziv HaShechina Bovad, that's only a ray of the Shechina, which is automatic by definition, a very limited revelation of even the Shechina, which is the lowest level of Malchus. Which Hashem is totally infinite, past, present, and future simultaneously without any change. I'm going to explain in a second. Like it says, okay? So he says like this. All these physical worries that I have, all comes from the mazel. It comes from the malachim in charge of the 70 nations. They come from higher levels of malachim, who come from higher levels of malachim, who come from Malchus of Atzilus, which is only a ray of the Shekhinah. I mean, basically, all these things compared to Hashem is zilch nothing. Therefore, and then after this meditation, in the depth of this delving of his mind, to serve nafshe, his soul will become awakened in Ava V'Chukah Nifla, of this tremendously loving, desirable love. Kerish be'etzeg, a burning fire, to leave this physical concealment, this dark concealment, and only to Davka Be'ez Barich. Okay, it says like this. A person meditates and realizes like this. All this Gashmistic world is basically the sediment of the sediment of the sediment, the junk of the junk of the junk. Okay? So now when I realize that, and therefore I realize this is all nothing, why do I need to want this if I can want the essence of Hashem? So that's going to awaken a person that instead of desiring and being controlled by the business, he's going to want only Elokus. Like the Rebbe Shab said to the Chazar, he brings down the Rebbe Ebeler. He said, the Rebbe Shab said to him, I'm jealous of you. You're in the business world. You meet a Jew, you tell him a nice Torah, you talk about, something. He says, what you're doing basically transforming the world of darkness, business, concealment of godliness, and you're bringing light into it. He says that's much greater than the Rebbe Rashab said, there's an explanation of it, that he's all in the world of Kedusha. So the transformation of bringing light into darkness and making darkness into light is a much greater level of light than the light that comes from light. So he says, this is what a person needs to realize. This only can be through Tirdas HaParnasa. When you're dealing with darkness, and then you meditate and realize what is darkness. It's a bunch of hot air, basically, nothingness. Then that stimulates the person to want to be closer to Hashem, which means that business is causing you, what's making you have this desire to become close to Hashem? The fact that you're in the business, which is concealment and darkness and all the problems, that itself is stimulating you to become closer to Hashem. What?
It sounds like we are marginalizing.
A little louder, sir.
It sounds like we are marginalizing and stigmatizing the world of Parnasa.
Yeah.
The endeavor of Parnasa.
Yeah.
But that's actually very beautiful, noble, because no Kemach and Torah.
Yeah. But the question is, am I using the business as a vehicle and a tool, or is my whole head in the business? Like the Tzemach Tzedek said to this Kaloshin maker, this galoshes. Californians don't know what galoshes are. There's something called boots. Anyway, so he said, I've always seen feet in a boot, but a head in a boot that I've never seen. In other words, the question is, do I control the business or is the business controlling me? That's the fundamental difference. It's a fundamental difference because if the business controls me, that means I can't do anything in Yiddishkeit because the business is not allowing me to daven and to learn and all that. That means the business is controlling you. That means your head is in the boots. But if I realize that the business is only a vehicle to serve Hashem better, if the business is a vehicle to serve Hashem better, how can the business contradict my going to shul and my davening and my learning and giving tzedakah and all that? That's a fundamental difference. It's an attitude difference, but it's day and night.
It sounds like it's categorically is dismissive of.
Not dismissing. I told you, it's not dismissing business. The question is very simple English. Is my smartphone controlling me, or do I control my smartphone? Is that you understand? Okay? Many people are addicted to the smartphone. Any addiction means it controls you. That's the definition of addiction, right? Okay. So the question is, let's speak in our language, okay? Most people today, but I'll believe it or not, are controlled by the smartphone. They lose it. They're ice men. They can't function for it would be like snow in LA, a billionth of an inch. Their city would be closed for a year because they can't handle it. Okay. Or do I control my smartphone? Or taking it here, does my business control me, or do I control the business? That's the bottom line. It's very simple.
How about that org is on the smartphone?
So then I'm using the smartphone for good things. I understand, but even then you can't be addicted to a smartphone.
And even on that website, in any website, the Google pops up stuff.
Okay.
They know either click on it or you dismiss it.
Right.
Rabbi is talking about Tirkus Apanasa. He's talking about the worries of Apanasa.
Yeah, but he's talking about the involvement in business. There's a whole thing, not only Tirda. Tirda's a Parnasa means, Torud doesn't only mean, when you say Misha, a person who's Torud, it means occupied. It doesn't only mean worried. Tirda's a Parnasa means occupation of business.
But isn't the neshama of the Jew higher than Mazala?
Yeah, a Mazel Yisrael.
So how come the Rebbe is bringing up?
No, because the person is, that's, when you're involved in the business, then when the business controls you, that's not the neshama being greater than the mazolos. You're allowing the mazolos of business to control the neshama.
Down here.
Yes, down here. No, allowing the business to control you? No. A Jew is higher than mazel. A Jew is not controlled by mazel. Mazel is a level, like he says, if you look at Mazel, basically what the Alter Rebbe is saying here, Mazel gets from the Ayin Sarim. The Ayin Sarim gets from the higher Malachim. They get from the higher Malachim. And even those higher Malachim are only getting from Malchus. Yes? Which is only a ray of the Shekhinah. So how far down is the Mazolis? Ein Mazel Yisrael or Ayin Mazel Yisrael. Ayin is the level of Chochmah Ma'ayin Timatzei. It's higher than the level of world. Not only is it not Malchus, it's higher than Chochmah. So then, a Yid's Mazel, but the point is then, the Yid is higher than world. The business is not controlling him.
So worrying about it is futile.
What?
Worrying about business is waste of time. Because our neshama is higher.
Yeah, but does the Neshama have to worry about the body? Does the body have to be healthy? That means the Neshama has to worry about the body? Yes. If the Neshama doesn't worry about the body, don't eat and don't sleep. Yes? Does that work? Doesn't work. The Neshama has to work with the body, but not that he is allowing the body to control the Neshama. The Neshama controls the body. Does our head control our hearts, or the hearts control the mind? It's a fun. It sounds very similar, but it's worlds apart.
You have many of these enheartening cases of people who made a balance between Torah and Buddha, and they became actually very successful. But what's dispiriting is that for every one such case, you have a lot more cases of people who tried to balance it and lost the business.
Not true. Not because of the balancing. It's not because of the balancing.
You have to apply 100% of yourself in business these days to prevail.
Applying yourself to business is not at all contradictory to what we just said. Yes, you have to apply yourself into business. If you're not in the business, you're not going to make a living. The question is the business only, as applying yourself into the business, is it a means to the end, or is it an end by itself? That's the difference, though. Of course I have to apply myself. If I don't apply myself to business, yeah, how am I going to be successful? But the question is, that application of the business, is that only a means to the end, which is serving Hashem? Or is that, no, that's the ultimate goal. That's it. That's the difference. It's not the balancing act between one thing and the next. People have to balance. That's what Torah says. And another thing, according to Torah, you're not going to make a cent more than what Hashem wants you to get, and you're not going to make a cent less. You still have to make a keli. You have to make a vessel. But the bottom line, when you make a vessel, a proper vessel, you make a proper vessel by applying yourself into the business. You make a proper keli. You're going to get not a cent more and not a cent less than you're supposed to make. And even if people think they're going to make more by cheating and everything, it'll come off with doctor bills or leaky roofs or whatever it is. Hashem has his cheshbonos. Okay, so he says, like the Alter Rebbe used to say in the time of his drag. I don't want you Gan Eden, I don't want your Olam Haba, I only want you. He says, which is only a ziv or a bilvad. Even a yid realizes 1 second of tshuva ma'asim tevin is better than the whole Olam Haba, and he realizes, like he says, Olam Haba is only a ray of the Shechina, like it says, Sadikim Yesh V'nanim Miziv Shechina. What does the Jew want? The dovka by Yisbarach to cling to Hashem, lichol b'chinas mahus evatzmos Yisbarach, to be connected to the essence of Hashem, like it says in the Zohar, lishtaba b'guf the malka. Basically, the Zohar says it means to hug the body of the king. They want the king himself, not the officers, not the dignitaries. The Medrash says, he said, I know nothing malka. So he says, this is what a Jew wants. A Jew doesn't want Gan Eden, but now, how does a Jew reach this level of connection to the essence? It's only through Tirdas HaParnosa and such challenges, Chayshech, because then the Or that comes from Chayshech is the essence. It's not. What?
It's always like that. You have to squeeze to get high.
You have to squeeze a grape in order to get wine. It doesn't come by itself.
It doesn't have to be like that. Somebody can be directly at
By the way, it does.
It does.
The Rebbe Rashab said about the Alter Rebbe in prison, it is Kislev. Hazayis shekech and esei, when you take an olive and you squeeze it, when the Alter Rebbe was squeezed in prison, tortured, that's when he gave the Shemin of Chassidus. The Aveda of the Jew, that's what we're saying here. The Alter Rebbe is saying, explaining why is Tirdas HaParnosa called Mayim Rab Meinayach? Because only through the challenges and squeezing and torture, you come to the ultimate level of menucha, of naicha.
It doesn't apply to everything.
No, it's everybody, but everybody except you. No, I'm saying it applies to everybody except you. Yeah, okay, good. As long as you agree. What?
It's very risky.
What's risky?
Some people are squeezed, dry out.
And they get crushed too.
No.
It's very risky.
Anything in the world that was created that's good could be used for bad. Yes?
Yes.
We have to be the ones to choose if by being squeezed I'm going to give out oil or I'm going to squeeze myself to death. That's our free choice. Now people make stupid choices, right? We're all making foolish choices, okay? But that's our free choice to do what's right or what's wrong. That's our free choice. Now we could choose to do good, and we could choose to do bad. And by the way, this is the simple explanation of the pasuk at the beginning of Parshas Re'eh. Re'eh anechi nesin lefnecha meyem bracha klala, okay? And a b'charta b'chayim. Now, the pasuk basically says, look, Hashem says, I'm giving you life and death, choose life. Yeah? So the obvious question, which moron is going to choose death? Correct? What's the answer? The pasuk is talking about our choosing in life. We make the wrong decisions. We're choosing the wrong things. We're choosing death. So Hashem says, not only am I advising you, I'm giving you, but the Rebbe says it's the koyach to choose the right. People say, what is the pasuk telling us? Which idiot is going to choose death? We're all choosing death. Every time we make stupid decisions, we're choosing death. What do you think? Death is you take a knife and kill yourself? I mean, it's not what it's all about. That's what the pasuk says. You have to choose. But only through the that's what the Alter Rebbe is explaining over here. Only through the challenges of Tirdas HaParnosa and the meditation that stimulates to meditate into what you could accomplish, so then the person comes to a level of desiring to be connected to the essence of Hashem, not Gan Eden even. And that's all Meinoyach.